to use the word particle when referring to these wave structures. So, when I mention particle, think the end points of waves, where their directions are reversed. We therefore can define a particle as being the stationary wave energy structure that results when we get forward and time-reversed waves that become locked in resonance with each other. You could therefore say that the rope that you were flapping connects two particles. One particle is at your hand, and the other particle the point where the rope ties to the wall. These two particles are locked together in resonance between two identical waves that are going in opposite directions, scalar energy waves. This illustrates the locked resonance structure that is an electron. The center point oscillates up and down. In other words, it oscillates between positive and negative, showing how the creation of an electron must be accompanied by its antiparticle, the positron. When several electrons create phase-locked resonance with each other, we have a synchronously resonating structure that forms an even bigger particle. This is the basis of all matter in the universe. When you reflect on us as energy beings, you can readily see how this might be so from this wave resonance simulation between electrons. Just try imagining zillions of waves being resonance locked to each other. That is our body. And you can imagine that the degree to which we maintain maximum phase-locked resonance between all of these wave particles is the degree to which we maintain perfect health and awareness. Not only are we the physical body that we see and feel, but you can now readily understand how it is that we extend into the space surrounding our physical bodies, with resonance locking taking place with other scalar waves from within the surrounding ether, with weaker degrees of resonance locking as distance from our physical body increases. This is the nature of our auras. You must realize that all of space is a resonating mist of phase-locked particles. Nowhere is there emptiness, not even in the farthest reaches of outer space. It is through this resonance-locked wave structure that all energy flows in the universe. When we contemplate how hard some materials can be, diamonds, for example, we can perhaps get an inkling of the enormous energy that is within the scalar waves that lock together the carbon atoms in phased resonance within it. In the words of Marcel Proust, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. So let's look with new eyes at the many clues and patterns produced by the universal scalar energy. First, let's remind ourselves again how scalar waves appear on computer simulation. Now here is a pattern created by a vibrating flat plate that is covered with a sprinkling of sand. See how the sand has moved itself to make a pattern that shows the stationary scalar waves. This also applies to water. Here is a water drop being vibrated. Again, it shows the scalar wave patterns. Interesting to note the hexagon structure that is created by the resonance within this water drop. And here are microscope images of different snowflake crystals. And see how they are always hexagonal in shape. On a much larger scale, here is a photograph of the North Pole of Saturn. We can see the aurora, just as we see at the North Pole and South Pole of Earth. But see its hexagonal shape traced out by the clouds, that in this photograph are shown in red, and marked here by the green overlay. So from these examples we get confirmation that the kind of vibrational energy that affects the shape of snowflakes also acts across space. The flower of life symbol, composed of multiple evenly spaced overlapping circles, is considered sacred among many cultures and is viewed as a symbol of sacred geometry. It also has a hexagonal shape. This is an atomic force microscope image of the surface of a silicon crystal. You can see the silicon atoms locked together in a scalar wave pattern. This seashell shows a pattern that obviously is reflecting a scalar wave pattern. The spiral shape is also associated with scalar energy, but we will discuss that in more detail later. I would like to quote these words from Albert Einstein. "He who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe is as good as dead. His eyes are closed." Again, to remind you of our starting to be familiar computer-simulated phase-locked scalar wave patterns, look in particular at the space between the two peaks, the kind of line pattern. Clouds that we see from this aircraft window look amazingly similar. And these ones looked at from below also display a similar scalar wave pattern. Now, this cloud that the meteorologists call a lenticular cloud is actually formed by a particularly high scalar energy associated with this mountain. This is Mount Fuji in Japan. Lenticular clouds are stationary lens-shaped clouds that form over particular mountains and do not move with the wind. Aircraft tend to avoid flying near these kinds of cloud because of the unusually high turbulence associated with them.